What is up, Nerf Herders? Hope you're all doing well out there and having a great day. So we just got done watching the first episode, making of WandaVision from the Marvel Assembled series on Disney Plus. And we, of course, both loved WandaVision. If you've been watching our videos, we adore this show and we love everything about this here. So any chance we can get to talk a little bit more about it, we are going to hop on it. So we wanted to kind of share some thoughts from the behind the scenes making of here. And first, before we get into this, though, hit that subscribe button, click that bell for notifications to keep up with the latest here. We are shooting for 1,000 subscribers by the end of March, and we're going to keep pushing for it, baby. So make sure you subscribe, keep up with everything we are doing here in Nerf Herder Studios. So we'll jump into this here. The first thing we kind of want to dive into, because they presented this right in the beginning of the episode, which was really neat, and they full-blown confirmed that this was done in front of a live audience as far as all the sitcom world stuff, and I thought that was just so badass that they just jumped right out with that.
Yeah, that was probably my favorite part of this behind the scenes thing is the reveal that you are legitimately in front of a live studio audience. Because my whole thought behind it was, you know what, they just filmed this and then they just edited in the studioed audience sound bites
Right.
like a lot of times they do. And I was just like, oh my gosh, they actually brought a group of people in and had them reacting, and you had the entire set. You had every little section of the house kind of right there in a studio. And I just thought it was so neat. Like, it was so authentic.
Yeah, that was the coolest thing about it. Authentic is that's the best word to describe it. To have that authentic feel to it, that they went to that level. Plus, for all the actors too, you could see all the enthusiasm and the excitement for them. Or just like, yeah, like we've kind of done some theater and stuff, but to be on that kind of a level and have that adrenaline rush. And Paul Bettany, more than anybody, who was like, man, I've been in the wrong shit my whole life, man. I should have been doing sitcoms.
He was like a
It's
little
cool.
schoolgirl, bro. He was so
Yeah,
excited. I loved it. I
yeah,
loved it.
so cool,
Um,
man.
I thought it was really interesting though when they did the 50s and 60s, like the studio audience seats that they brought in were like old school 50s wooden chairs, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
I was just like, that's such a neat little touch just to kind of bring you back, you know?
Yeah, I thought that was awesome. I thought it was really cool too how they had talked. I can't remember the gentleman's name now, but he had mentioned him and Kevin Feige had actually went out and had a lunch with Dick Van Dyke just to kind of get his perspective and like what little things can we incorporate to make sure we're keeping this as authentic as possible. So it's so cool, all those little nuggets in there.
Yeah, they did a great job. I think it just makes it that much more believable, and I think that's why we enjoyed it so much. I think it would have felt less sincere if we had found out it was just, oh yeah, we did the sound stage, then we rolled in the audience noise after the fact, and I don't know, it just kind of added something to, I think, even the acting. I think it really brought more, more passionate acting from the characters. So.
Yeah, I agree, man. And I wanted to point out, too, which I thought was really neat, was all the practical effects. Because with them filming in front of a live studio audience, when they're doing a lot of those things like you'd see in Bewitched, I thought it was so neat how you'd see those moments when it was just like, all right, go. And you'd see Elizabeth Olsen doing her thing, and then it's freeze. And you got to hold position. They got to make the switch real quick and then go back in. So to kind of be able to do all of that on the fly, be able to interact with this environment of everything, on strings and wires being pulled across and all that, man. Just what a fun experience, that would have to be as an actor to be able to do something like that now, especially when you're in Marvel, I think that adds a different element to the whole thing with Marvel.
Yeah, I think any chance you get to use practical effects is going to be, A plus 100%. I
Yeah.
loved, in this, like when she is in the kitchen, kind of scrambling for the dinner with the boss, and then the doors open from the living room, and you see it's someone's hands, like someone was doing
Yeah.
that, but I'm sure they edited it out,
Right.
or then even like the part where she's trying to hide her belly and she keeps having to like freeze, put on another jacket, and then like, take again. I just think those like add such like little cool things about it. I don't know. I'm not
Yeah.
a huge fan of CGI, so I think it's useful where it can be, but like I thought it was a breath of fresh air to see in this episode all of the wires that were used, just a lot of the things that you didn't think were being used. I mean, honestly, when I first saw it, I was kind of just like, oh, you know what? They probably did some CGI for this, but it was like actually practically done. So it was pretty cool
Yeah.
to find that out.
Yeah, I agree, man. And bringing up the CGI thing, because I thought that everything on Vision was makeup and prosthetic as far as the headgear and all that. To actually see how they incorporated that with like the subtle CGI to create what his actual head harness unit is and everything,
Yeah.
That was awesome, dude, because I thought that they had literally just kind of built his face out with everything and then just touched it up in post, but the whole thing is done in post and it's so seamless. If had
Yeah.
they have not shown that, I never would have guessed at all that that was CGI'd on him.
And that's what's so cool about this behind the scenes is a lot of it, you really couldn't tell like in the
Yeah.
in the series. Like I didn't have any idea if some of it was practical or some of it was CGI, and it's kind of an attest to Marvel that they're so good with their visuals that
Yeah.
they can make you, believe one thing or the other. It's not like the DC universe where 100% that's CGI. Like
Yep.
this is very hard to realize, and I think that's a perfect blend.
Yeah, no, 100%, man. And what I love too, because this was a nice reminder, I really felt, when they went back and showed Paul Bettany back in, with Jon Favreau doing the first
Oh
Iron
my
Man.
gosh, dude.
Yeah, I think we tend to forget, dude, that like he's OG, man. Like he was Jarvis and became the physical manifestation of Jarvis in a sense, which got brought into Vision. So his arc throughout this, I think we tend to forget, man, that Paul Bettany's been around this whole time, man, and he's obviously here for more, which is so cool, dude. But I thought that was really nice and a nice touch to kind of harp back to that.
Yeah, how cool is that, dude? You get the job just being a voiceover actor, like doing some robotic voice. And even John Favreau's like, I need some guy like who's going to sound really boring, you know?
Yeah.
And like he does all the voiceover work for Iron Man, and obviously he's Jarvis. But then it's like Ultron comes into the mix. It's like, hey, we want to turn you into a live action star, you know? I
Yeah.
think it's just a cool story, a cool arc for not only his character, but for him as an actor. Just like his journey going from the voice acting to like on camera scenes is really cool. And it was just so interesting seeing him because they showed these behind the scenes from decades ago, and he looked like he was fresh off the set of A Knight's Tale, dude.
Yeah.
Like just the skinny little Paul Bettany that just was like a nobody.
Yep.
And now to see how far he's come is just so neat.
Yeah, it's pretty wild, man. It's beautiful casting. It's so cool to see a character like that kind of come into their own as this MCU has progressed with everything. His enthusiasm was awesome. One of the coolest things about any behind the scenes look at stuff is seeing kind of that third party perspective camera. So when you see the folks that kind of sit in the back and you can see everything that's happening around them, all the extra hands on set, the boom mics coming over and all that, there was a particular moment in this that I was so glad they put in there, and I thought it was so cool. But when Catherine Hahn is sitting there, and it's at the end of the Agatha All Along song, and she's like, "And I killed Sparky too." We see that, and we see the laugh, and then it cuts, dude. But we got to see what the extended piece of that was, and when she turns around and keeps cackling, just chucks the body of the dog. I was like, little things like that, man. Add more to that scene, so that when you go back and rewatch this and see that scene again, you kind of know how much further it goes, and I think it adds more to that character just seeing some of that stuff.
Well, it really shows you the actor like in their element,
Yeah.
like they're 100% in that character. They're going for it. And I'm sure that all of them got some leeway with some, improv on this.
Absolutely.
They were probably like, here's what your lines are, but like take it where you want to take it. And you could even tell, I mean, even with Elizabeth Olsen, she kind of had this vibe of like, you know what, like I'm really just exploring this character on a new level.
Yes.
And I'm going to take it where I want to. And I thought that was so cool. But to your point, it was so funny. She's such a fun actress to watch, and seeing like just that little extended piece after the Agatha All Along was just so much fun. I loved her interview in it.
Yeah.
And I loved the kind of the I guess the behind the scenes of her, doing her like elevation and some of her, witchcraft stuff. It was just really neat seeing that from her.
Yeah, and that, dude, I was right where I was as a perfect segue, because that's exactly where I was running with this. To see all that wire work with her and Elizabeth Olsen, Paul Bettany and stuff was so cool to kind of see all that going down, and knowing that, these actors, especially Catherine Hahn, who's new to all of this, just be like, hey, guess what? Like, not only are you going to be able to have fun and explore this like wild witch character, but we're elevating you up into the sky. And just to be able to do that and have fun with it, you could tell that she was totally embodying this character and had so much fun in that role. Her and Elizabeth Olsen, man, are like such a standout in this here, and I really do, like we've talked about before, I really hope that we get more Agatha moving forward somewhere down the line in some capacity. I don't know, man. I can't get enough of her character right now. It's so damn good.
Yeah, she's probably one of my favorite, like, I guess, villains so far in the MCU because she's so lovable. And like, as much as she was a bad guy in this, I like her a lot. I'm very drawn to her. I'm very interested in her. I want to know more about her. and she's just enjoyable to see on screen, you know. And I've always enjoyed her as an actor or an actress. I've enjoyed her other roles, and she has always kind of played the same role, and I think this really let her branch out because I think I saw a side of her I haven't seen before.
Yeah.
And I think that was really nice to see on this. One thing I did want to bring up though was, and I had no idea, but the director of this was like a former child actor, and he had all of this experience with like sitcoms.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was so cool because it kind of speaks to, like, you know, when you think of Disney, you think of Marvel, Star Wars, you know, all the properties. I think the one thing Disney does such a good job on is like their homework and making
Yeah.
sure that the people they hire are 100% going to bring you the most authentic experience for whatever universe you're going to be in. You know, say what you want about the sequel trilogy for Star Wars, it felt like Star Wars. You know, the story, you can say what you want, but the feel of it was Star Wars. You got such an authentic experience. And I would say the same for this. And I think that's kind of, you know, from the choice of just bringing in these directors, producers, these people who have this unique experience with some of these things. And that dude brought it. I mean, him
Yeah.
growing up on, I think he said he was on Different Strokes and maybe another show when he was a kid. It's like, okay, you get it, dude. You totally understand how to make this feel like an awesome sitcom.
Yeah, dude, absolutely. And you said it perfect, man. Like Marvel does their homework. I mean, they do their homework. They're very much about giving you that authentic feel. And everything I feel that was kind of presented in this shows you more and more of that attention to detail. If you look at just the town square, man, when they were kind of showing like, hey, here's our town square, here's what we had to do. We didn't have time to days to set this up. So everything had to be preset and ready. And then overnight, when we were getting ready for the next day for everything, it was basically like Legos, dude. Just plug and play
Yeah.
all these new things all over this, man. It's like you got to be on your game, dude, to like make
Yeah.
sure that that all flows smoothly. So I thought that was amazing. Another thing too, dude, this was so awesome. Didn't even think to look into this, but the composers for the sitcom opening intro songs and all that,
Dude, I
Kristen
wanted to
Anderson
talk about
Lopez and
that.
Robert Lopez, same
Yeah.
folks that did the Frozen songs, dude. So like,
Yeah.
I thought that was awesome, man. I
Yep.
love Frozen. I love the music in that. So to see that husband and wife together doing this, that made me so happy. That like brought it all home for me.
That was really cool. And then I thought it was even cooler that when they got to the Malcolm in the Middle 90s, they brought in the singer of Bikini Kill
Yeah,
to
dude.
give it like that total punk rock vibe. I had no idea what that was her. I was just like, you know what? They're doing like their own little punk rock thing for this 90s grunge vibe. And it's like, no, this is straight up the singer of Bikini Kill. We brought her in, we had her record. I was like, dude, are you kidding me? That's so sick.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think it just does all building on itself is like these are really cool things that Marvel has done to really just make it like that much more important, that much more sentimental. It makes me appreciate it a lot more, you know. It, we've had our experiences with our, you know, short films that we've done and things like that, but when you see all of the stuff that they've put into this, it's just, oh my gosh, it's just unbelievable.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. The MCU, like we said, it still has it. They know what they're doing. We're in for a
Yeah.
wild ride. I think watching this hour-long thing here, ironically, the longest episode of all of WandaVision was the making of here. But yeah, such a deeper respect for everything that went into the show. Can't wait to go back and watch it again. This is top tier Marvel. This is top tier just entertainment and television in a whole as it is. So if you guys have not gotten on WandaVision and you've been watching all of this, get your ass back and watch this. And if
No,
you've
no
seen it,
shit.
go watch it again.
Yep.
So we're going to wrap this one up here for today, though. We will be back with more. There's going to be a lot more coming. We got Winter Soldier and Falcon coming at us next week. That's going to be 6
Dude,
episodes. So we'll be here to
so
talk about
pumped.
those. Hell yeah, dude. Oh, I can't wait for that. And that will do it for today, though, guys. Please hit that subscribe button. Make sure to click that bell for notifications. If you enjoyed the content, give this video a thumbs up. Leave some comments down below. Would love to know your thoughts on this behind-the-scenes making of, and what are your takeaways from it? I think there's so much we can take away from the attention to detail that Marvel has. So I'd love to know some of the things that you took away from this here, and we'll catch you all in the next video.